I don't know what you can hear with the dead triple microphone. Hello. But we're doing some cleaning up of these legs before we put the wood preservative on them. So cue the time lapse. Okay, so hopefully the dead tribble on the microphone is picking this up, but we've done a first coat, we're going to do a second coat and let that cure, and then we'll make the elephant feet for these so it'll sit level. I just got to make sure I get the leveling thing out correctly. I'll put that on video as well. Alright, so onward and looming. Mara went and bought some wonderful wood, and what we're going to do is make
orthopedic boots for the loom.
Orthopedic boots. Basically what we want to do is get the feet of the loom off the floor. There's a cement floor. So inside this will be some pressure treat. And because we have some rotted feet, a badly rotted foot, we're going to raise that up so that everything's at the same level. So Mara can start making
orthopedic boots.
And
rag rugs for the bathroom, and then maybe something else. And then, yeah, it'll be a working loom.
Yeah, the rag rugs because I don't like stepping out into a dry, it's not a cold floor. I mean, it's vinyl. It's not a cold floor, but, and it's not slippery either. So that's that. So we got the wood.
It's nice not to drip on the floor.
Yes, got the wood for that. Mara went and bought no skiddy feet, which we're going to have to kind of cut and paste together to the right size. We got no skiddy feet, so when she's manipulating the thing, it won't skid across the floor. So let's start cutting some wood, and then we'll bring out the dovetail jig, and we'll do some dovetails, and Mara wants to be brought up to speed. Frankly, I need to be brought up to speed because I haven't used it in a long time.
We used this ages ago. I've used it once, and I don't remember. So time for a refresher.
The thing is, the very first really expensive tool that we had to save up to buy was the Leigh jig, and we've had it ever since. We've had that for more than 22 years.
Yeah,
23.
it was a Christmas present to ourselves. I think more than 20 years ago.
Closer to 30 years.
We bought it at the old house, and we've been here for 20 years.
Okay, so it's about 30 years. 25 to 30 years we've had that Leigh jig. I have updated it with some of the newer features from the later jigs, but it's one of the earlier models. Anyway, onwards and onwards. The legs are rectangular in shape. So the first cuts I'm doing are the long runs. I've got a piece that I've trimmed the end on, and I've got a stop block here, so they'll all be the same length. So I'm going to get busy cutting these, and I need my ears. My ears.
Here's your ears.
Need our ears. Protect the hearing because,
I'm going to dig out the Leigh jig while you're doing that.
Okay, she's going to dig out the Leigh jig while I'm doing this. So here we go. So those are the long runs. So now I'm going to cut the the end pieces of the boxes. And we need 4 of those at 6.5 and 4 of those at 5.5. So I'm reading my notes over here. Right, let's get busy doing that. I wasn't going to show you setting up the jig and getting everything ready. There are numerous videos on YouTube, plethora of videos on YouTube on how to set up a Leigh jig, how to use a Leigh jig. I'll try and find some and put them in the description. So we have our test piece, and we know what our joint's going to look like and how tight they're going to fit. This is not as snug as I'd like, so when we do the final ones, I'll make an adjustment for that. The first workpiece is in place, the jig is set up, the router is ready. Now, the most important addition I got to this machine was this. Yeah, what is that? So this connects to the machine right here, like this, stays on with rare earth magnets. It's dust collection for the Leigh jig, and believe me, tell them.
Yeah, so you don't wind up covered with a veritable snowstorm of sawdust.
Yeah,
Yes. Very important.
This thing just, the cutter just throws sawdust out from underneath and everywhere. It goes everywhere. This doesn't get 100%. It gets maybe 95, 98% of it. And it's connected to my shop dust collector, so we're ready to go.
That's the magic.
That's the magic. Now, why am I not cutting these by hand? Because I have a Leigh jig. Duh. But I do know how to cut them by hand. I have cut them by hand in the past, and when anybody asks me about a Leigh jig, I always specify, learn how to cut them by hand. Cut a lot of dovetails by hand, and then go get a jig. So you appreciate what this thing does for you. All right, so with that, let's go cut some dovetails, and then Mara's going to cut some dovetails, and I'm going to cut some dovetails, and it's going to be a whole afternoon's worth of work, and certainly that's not all going to be on camera. Done. This is not all of them, of course, because we assembled a few of them. These are the orthopedic shoes. Now, found out a problem with not the Leigh jig, but with the router. The guide collar is out of alignment with the bit. And that particular router, there's no adjustment. So I've ordered an adjustable plate with a guide bush centering tool, very cheap at Amazon. And that was what I'll use in that router from now on. Because when we looked, after we made the cuts and I looked up the problem, and I looked at the orientation of that bit, I'm pointing because it's over there on the bench, of that bit to that router collar, and it's way off. And so we've got some gaps. We've got some gaps in the dovetail. So,
it's not fine furniture.
no.
It's pine. It'll be fine.
It's going on a very old loom, so it'll look kind of oldish, and the gaps can be filled with the
Putty,
wood
if
putty.
we
Yeah,
want
yeah,
to.
the wood
If we
putty.
want to, I
if
may
we
not
want to.
bother.
I mean, it's going to be sanded down, and when they're
Yep.
glued together, it's going to be kind of nice. We got to make the bottoms for these now, and they're going to be made out of pressure treated lumber, and they're going to fit inside the box here.
And then we put the rubber pads on the bottom.
The feeties.
Oh, we're also thinking of some kind of detail around the top, but that's for later.
Yeah, we're running a small bead detail around the top, but just for giggles, because there's a couple of details on the loom
Yeah.
here and there.
Yeah.
But we
Let's
can
make it
again.
look slightly nicer
The idea is just to get it off the floor and protect the legs for future
and
damage.
even out the one that was short because of rut.
Yeah, because we don't need a loom that does this.
No,
When Mara's going the bang bang thing, no.
not desirable.
No, it's gonna be like this. Even keel. All right, onward.